Hey everybody, Jessica Coulter here, CEO and founder of Ace Kiki Tutoring. We were having a couple technical difficulties not too long ago, so if you watched the replay or you caught that other video, sorry about that, we got it all fixed now. But let's jump back into it, guys. Let's talk about your notes in math class, because I've had a lot of students come to me, a lot of parents come to me, and they're like, how is my kid supposed to take notes in math? Like, what am I supposed to write in math class? Because there can be a lot of problems up on the board and it can be kind of a struggle to get as many notes as you think you need in your notes. So before we really jump into how to take notes in math class, how to handle all of those example problems, we want to let you know that I am hosting a free note-taking training this week. So if you haven't already joined, be sure to click the link in the description and sign up, because we started today. We talked about the number one most important note-taking tool, and the rest of the week, the next 4 days, we've got even more awesome information coming your way. So guys, let me know after you've gotten all signed up, after you're ready to listen. I want to know, do you like math? Because there are people like me who are pretty neutral, you know, it's great, it's bad, it's whatever. And then there are people that hate math, and then there are people who absolutely think it's the best class ever. So let me know, good or bad, down below. Drop your feelings about math, or maybe even your kiddos' feelings. So guys, the reason we're talking about this is because when you have a lot of example problems to take in your notes in a math class, that's a pretty awesome problem to have. I can tell you, whenever students are like, oh, my teacher puts so much stuff up on the board in my math class, I don't know what to do. I've got to tell you, that's pretty nice, because not all teachers do that. So if that's your problem, consider yourself lucky. And the reason you're lucky is because a lot of times those teachers are giving you multiple examples of the same concept. So you might see a problem that is pretty much the exact same steps, the exact same methodology as the problem the teacher just put on the board and that you had just put in your notes. Well, it's going to be up to you. Do you need all of those same problems of the same type? I would encourage you to put those in your notes, because that's what works for me, but maybe you're not a student who gets as confused as other ones that don't think math is their best subject or don't even like math. But no, it can get a little confusing if we've got 2x squared on this line, then all of a sudden it's x squared over here, and then, or maybe that number 3 turned into a 10, and you're like, whoa, 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 what happened? Well, if you have the multiple example problems in your notes, I can tell you it's going to be easier to see the patterns, to see the steps. So we're going to talk more about that here in a second. Just know, if you're now joining us, I want to let you know that we're streaming to both Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you're a follower on Facebook, a subscriber on YouTube, so you never miss another live video. So guys, here we go. Once you've decided how many example problems to write, once you've decided, do I need them all, which is what I do, which is what I encourage you to do, or do you just need one of each type? So decide what works for you. Do know it is kind of a gamble. Do know if you get home when you're working on the example problems and the homework and you're like, oh goodness, I remember he wrote that problem down, but I didn't write it down, you're going to be hurting no one but yourself. And especially when it comes to the test, he might give you the trickiest problem he can, or maybe she tries to be nice and gives you only this type of question, but maybe it's the one you understood the least and you only have one example problem. So again, your choice, just know it's a gamble. Now the other thing you got to make sure you have in your notes is you got to have some kind of description. You can't just have numbers and coefficients written down. You have to know what those numbers mean, you have to know what those coefficients stand for, you have to know how we got from this line to this line, basically kind of what are the steps that are happening with those actual numbers, with those actual parentheses and all those negatives and all of the things involved in that problem. So do know, you've got to know what those numbers mean, because I got to tell you, when it comes to formulas, when it comes to equations, sometimes it's a plug and chug is what I've heard teachers call it, and if you don't know what plugs where or how to chug it, you're not going to be able to solve it. So guys, one more point I want to make about notes in math class, especially concerning example problems, is to know that they can get pretty crowded. It can get pretty cramped when you're taking math notes. So for me, if you're at all a messy note taker, you try to write lots of things in a tight space, or maybe you don't want to waste paper, or maybe you're just sure that last problem is going to fit on this corner of this piece of paper and this notebook. Well, do know, math class, you're just going to have to sacrifice some paper. Do know it's to your benefit to have extra space between problems. So that way if you have to write things around them later, if you have to put some kind of note, even if it gets messy, but it helps you later on, you can only do that if there's extra room. And I gotta tell you, your math teacher is gonna thank you, no matter if you're a middle schooler or a college student. So guys, those were 3 tips for you about taking notes in math, even if there are lots and lots of example problems. So remember, you're lucky if you've got lots of example problems, a good problem to have. Do know it's up to you how many of those example problems to actually write in your notes. Know that you have to know what those numbers mean and those coefficients mean, and finally leave space around each example problem, leave some blank lines. Now if you want some more help with note taking, whether it's specific to math or English or any class, I am offering a free note taking training this week. We started today, so if you want to learn some tips, some strategies that are going to work in every single class, no matter if you're a student or even if you're an adult, because I got to tell you, adults take notes too. I want to help you improve your note-taking skills. Click the link in the description, provide your name and email so you can join us for all 4 days of the note-taking training, as well as the final day, which is a study masterclass. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great night. I'll see you very soon at the note-taking training. Bye.